Tiger Initiative. Getting it now? So basically, what was the purpose? The purpose of the Project Tiger was to conserve the population of tiger. Okay, now when was it launched? So it was launched in the year 1973. So sometimes this question might be asked, what is the launch year? It is, to be specific, 1 April 1973. Launched by the government of India. So this was a tiger conservation program which aimed at ensuring a viable population of tigers, particularly the Bengal tigers. So our main focus was to conserve the population of Bengal tigers. Getting it now? And it's not like you would be conserving them in the zoo or in a in a zoo, basically. No, you would be protecting it in the national parks or in the biosphere reserves or in the wildlife sanctuaries. Right now, talking about the goal, basically the goal here was to protect the to stop the decline of the population of the tiger. That's it. We had talked about different means in different measures we would be taking in order to conserve the plants and animals. So one of the very efficient method which we have got is called as the tissue culture. So we'd be understanding about this also. By the way, do tell me, in the previous classes which we had, we did talked about differences between a wildlife sanctuary and a biosphere reserve. How a wildlife sanctuary is different from a zoo. So these were the things which we have discussed in the previous class. I think one more differentiation needs to be discussed. Like, what is the difference between a wildlife sanctuary and a national park? So this topic slipped my mind. Let's quickly discuss this one as well. So in this, quickly think of some of the points. What could be the difference between a wildlife sanctuary and a zoo?
You said
Sorry,
that
national park. National park.
national park is like man-made habitat,
Very good.
and wildlife is like naturally natural
It's natural,
habitat.
right? It's a natural habitat, correct. And like a wildlife sanctuary, we have studied about wildlife sanctuary that it is not meant for recreation and enjoyment of the public, right? While in national park, in addition to protection, wildlife animals are kept for recreation, for enjoyment, and for educative purposes also. Getting it on this? In a wildlife sanctuary is basically not meant for recreation and enjoyment of the people. It's solely for conservation of animals only, right now. While in a national park, in addition to protection of the animals are also there. They are also serving a purpose of recreation and enjoyment for the people, and also it serves the educative interest of the people of the public. Are you getting it, Sundus?
Yes.
Right now, so you'd say that the purpose is only for protection, while it is protection. Along with protection, it is for recreation and plus enjoyment to the public. So this was another difference which we have studied. Then we did study one more difference. It's like, will you be easily allowed? Will visitors have easy access to the wildlife sanctuary?
Need permission, right?
Yes.
They need permission.
Yeah, with permission, or if they were to go there, they have to be escorted by the guards. They can't go in the wildlife sanctuary without being escorted by guards. So wildlife sanctuary usually does not allow easy access to the visitors, right now. So it doesn't allow easy access to visitors. right? While in the case of a national park, it allows easy access for the visitors to the land and the wildlife inside it. Getting it, no? So these were the differences. Easy access to visitors. Is that clear? Once I provide the PPT, in your notes, you would be mentioning all the differences we have discussed.
Sir,
Whether
can
it
you
be
give the
the
last,
yes,
the last slide?
you have 1 minute. When you get the final PPT of the chapter, you would be preparing the notes. And in notes, you will be writing the differences between wildlife sanctuary and zoo, how a biosphere reserve is different from a wildlife sanctuary, and the differences between the wildlife sanctuary and national park, which we just studied.
Yeah.
Done? Okay. So we were talking about tigers now. So tiger is one of the many wildlife species of wild animals which are slowly disappearing from our forest. Getting it? Because of poaching, because of illegal hunting of the animal. So we did talked about one tiger reserve in India. There is Satpura Tiger Reserve in the Satpura National Park in India right now. So under this project Tiger, there will be several reserves. There will be several biosphere reserves. There would be several wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. Getting it, Sandos? Under it's a program. It's a program launched by the government. Under this, you will be having several. You would be having several uh, tiger reserves in India. Getting it now? So there are as many as 28 tiger reserves in India. So tiger reserves are those places which are especially meant for the preservation of tigers. Getting it now? So tiger, as I said, it is one of the many wildlife species on Earth, and whose population is now declining. Okay. So Project Tiger, we would say it's a wildlife conservation project. So it is a wildlife conservation project launched by the government of India. Objective of this program was to ensure the survival and maintenance of the tiger population, especially in the tiger reserves throughout the India. And how many reserves are there? There are in total 28 tiger reserves. One of the notable example is Satpura Tiger Reserve. So that's it about it. Yes, Khadija, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Khadija, why are you so late in the class? And in fact,
Actually,
yeah,
there was an issue with my internet, that's why.
okay, okay. All right. Karishma, is this your first class?
Sir, it's Gauri.
Okay, Gauri. Okay, okay, okay. So Gauri, you also have joined a class a little bit late today.
Yes, sir. Sorry
See,
for joining late.
okay, okay, no issues for today's class, no issue. But guys, make sure that you guys at least join 2 to 3 minutes prior to the starting of the class. Getting it, no?
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, you will be missing important things. So, Gauri, just stay with this class for for 5 more minutes. Then we'll be beginning with the new chapter today. Okay, now there
Okay,
was
sir.
this chapter called as conservation of plants and animals, which was going on. Few topics left to be discussed. We'll be quickly over with it. Then we'll be beginning with the new chapter. Okay, now.
Okay, sir.
Okay. In fact, these concepts are important for you also. In future, you will be studying this, so you also try to understand. So, um, yeah. Plant tissue culture, it's one of the ways to conserve the plants. You see that the number of so many plants, and not just plants, certain kind of animals are also decreasing day by day. So one of the effective method is to do tissue culture. What is tissue culture? Tissue culture in general, it's a technology in which you take some sample from the body of the plants and animals, and then you keep it in a medium where you provide all necessary enzymes, all necessary hormones, so that it can grow in that medium. For example, tissue culture is most commonly done for the plants right now.
Is it done in labs?
Obviously, it is done in labs. So, for example, what they do, what they would be doing, for example, they have collected some tissue sample from here. They have collected some tissue sample from this leaf, and now they would be placing it in a medium, a special kind of medium, which consists of all the necessary nutrients and a hormone called as auxin. Auxin is a hormone which helps in growth of the plant cells. Okay, now you'll be studying about it in higher classes. So you have placed it in a china dish, and you have put some special nutrients and other kind of hormones in it. So thereby this sample of tissue will start to grow. After a week or so, tiny samples called as plantlets will start to grow. The seeds, note that we are not growing it from the seeds. You have just taken a tiny sample of this plant, or basically a tiny tissue of it, and now you are growing it into a nutrient rich medium. So tiny plantlets start to grow from it. Right now, once it has grown to sufficient size, you can start to grow it into a compost. Getting it now? So what are the advantages of tissue culture? At a, you can see that you can grow hundreds and thousands of plants just by taking a tiny sample of this plant. Getting it, guys? So there are several advantages. In just a short span of time, you are able to grow thousands of plants at the same time. So these are the advantages of tissue culture. Okay. Another thing is that the plants that are grown with the method of tissue culture, they are disease free. They are disease free. And normally when you grow the plants from their seeds now, it's not like you can grow the plant throughout the year or in any season. Getting it now? You can grow a particular crop in a particular season only. But in the case of tissue culture, you can grow crop irrespective of season. You can grow it throughout the year. And the plants that are grown, they are also disease free. So these are the advantages. So how it is used in conservation? Apart from using it in agriculture, it helps in conservation also. Like suppose there's a plant whose species are very less in number. Their number is very less. So by this method, you can grow thousands of them at just in a limited period of time. So thereby, it offers you an innovative approach to conserve the rare and endangered species of plants. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Sundus and Khadija, what about you guys?
Yes, yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, no? Not only it is helpful in conservation, but it is helpful in agriculture as well. Getting it? No? Okay. Now let's discuss about the migration. Like there are some organisms that would be migrating. Okay, no? Before migration, this one another important thing. Let's first of all talk about what is a red data book. So a red data book is the book or basically a publication which keeps a record of all the endangered animals, plants, and other species in it. So basically, this book contains a list of species which are in danger of becoming extinct in the near future. Right now, for example, if you were to look at the red data book of India, some of the species which are mentioned in the red data book of India are like flying squirrel. Have you guys ever seen a flying squirrel? Like uh, in your um in your neighbor, in your surrounding, in your garden or in your locality, have you seen a flying
Yes,
squirrel?
sir.
You
I've
have.
seen.
Good. But it's actually an endangered animal. If it is not preserved, if it is not conserved, in the near future, it will become extinct. Or you have Indian giant squirrel. Indian giant squirrel.
So this red data book, like all the countries have their own red data book.
Yeah, yeah. It is being published in different countries right now. All the countries have its own red data book right now. All of them will be consisting the list of those species which are in danger of becoming extinct. Right. Also, there are different data book for plants, for animals, and for other species. So one kind of data book will be for plants only. Another kind of will be for animals, and some other would be for other organisms which do not fit in plant and the animal category. So for plants, we have a particular red data book. For animals, we have a particular red data book, and so on for other also, right? So red data books are being published in many different countries, and it provides us with very useful informations. Right now, it provides us information on the threat status of the various species, like how much threat this particular species is facing, how much of habitat is available to this, what is the current population, what is the current number of this species all around the world or in that particular country. So also you will find that there are different color codes given in the red data book. For example, there are some species which would have become extinct, for example. So it would be shown in this color, for example. Getting it now? So this would also be mentioned, but main focus of the red data book is to basically it shows you the list of species which are in danger of becoming extinct. One could think of like what is the advantage of maintaining the red data book? Yes. What could be the advantage of maintaining the red data book? The advantage is that we now came to know which species of plants and animals are very small in number and they are facing the danger of extinction. So once we know that, we can take the required steps. Uh, we or basically the authorities which are concerned with this, they would be taking the remedial steps. They would be taking the proper steps in order to prevent their extinction. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no? So why the code here also you can look at the, like for example, if a species is critically endangered, so it would be having the deep red color and the code is CR. If it is endangered, EN, vulnerable, VU, right now. So there are some species which are of least concern, like they are not under the risk of extinction, right now. So least concern. For example, consider the species of crows. So they are not in the category of endangered. Now, near threatened. Near threatened means that they are now being hunted down. So if their hunting is not stopped, their habitat is not preserved, so thereby they will be threatened. So they are said to be near threatened. Then you have vulnerable, then endangered. So as you go higher in the list, their risk of becoming extinct increases. Then look at the top two category. These are the ones that have gone extinct in the wild. They are no longer found in the nature. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Sundus, Chakrika, is it clear to you guys also? Sorry, Chakrika, I'm saying. Khadija.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just to name few other organisms, like apart from Indian squirrel and the flying squirrel and the Indian giant squirrel, you have example of black bug also. You have great Indian rhinoceros, okay, na? Snow leopard and the tiger. They are also mentioned in the Indian Red Data Book. Red Data Book of India also mentions their name. Okay. Don't worry, all the names will be provided in the PPT. Talking about the migration, like what is migration basically? The common term is like people also migrate from one place to another in search of better life opportunities, better work, better employment, better job. Getting it now? So in the case of animals, basically the process of moving from one place to another according to the season. It is based according to the season. So that is called as migration. Particularly and mostly it is seen in the birds only, right? No. So many times we say that migration of the process of migration of a bird and some other animals also from one place to another in according to the season. Apart from the birds, you would find the wild buffaloes also doing migration. You would find some spiders also. You would find these zebras also doing migration. Basically, these animals, these mammals, they do migration in search of water. So you might have seen them migrating in large numbers from one place to another in search of water. Even elephants are also known to do migration, but uh, and that is also season based now. Like in the case of humans, when we humans migrate from one place to another, there could be different factors for it. But for animals, the only factor is season. As the season changes, they would be moving from one place to another right now, and they would be returning back to their original place once the season returns, once it's a different season. For example, it is summer in a particular area, and all the water bodies, ponds, lakes, rivers, all have dried up. Water bodies have dried up, so they will be moving on to nearby places where it is, let's say, where it is monsoon or where it is winter. So they would be having access to water in those areas. So once winter will be over in this area, they will be returned back to their original place. Right now?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
How would the animals who are migrating know which country to go to?
Repeat again.
How would the animals who are migrating know where to go?
How the animals would be migrating if they have nowhere to go?
No, like how would they know where to go?
Okay, how they do know where to go? Yeah, see, if you were to given let's take an example of elephants. You know that elephants, if you were to look at the elephants now, the oldest elephants in the tribe, in the elephant tribe, the oldest elephants, they know where the water resources are. Right now, that information was being passed to the eldest elephant from its parents, from the from the previous generation. So it's an information that keeps on passing in the animal from their ancestors right now. So that's how they do migration. So the information in the animal is being passed from the ancestors, that where they should be migrating to search for water right now.
Okay.
Getting it? So the reason is that why do animals migrate? One basic reason is in search of water. Another reason would be change in their habitat also. Suppose, for example, in a given area, the habitat of the animal is being destroyed. Deforestation is being done, or due to pollution, uh, their habitat has been polluted and it's no longer fit for them to live in that. So due to habitat destruction also, they would be migrating from one place to another. In rare cases, it is seen that few species of animals would be migrating from one place to another in search of a mate. So for mating also they do. So there are some animals that would be migrating for mating. Getting it?
What's mating?
Mating, basically it's reproduction. So there are some very rare species of it right now. What are some common examples of animals that do migration? So we have, yes,
Bird.
repeat again.
The bird.
Birds, yeah, very good. There are different kind of birds, like flamingo bird, they do migration. Zebra, Wild buffaloes. Wild buffaloes will also be doing migration right now. Wild buffalo, or particularly its name as wild beast. Okay, now wild beast. They would also be doing migration. You have another species of animal called as topi, Topy. Okay, now it is particularly found in the in Africa. Getting it? Flamingo. Have you guys seen the flamingo? It's flamingo is about it's
Yes, sir.
pink in color, right now. Elephant, as I told you guys, elephants also do migration. Getting it now? So these are some of the examples. Have you guys seen the image of this black-necked crane? Crane, they also do. In fact, you have some leatherback turtles also. They would also be doing migration, right now. You know that titles for thousands and thousands of years, like particular, or not just for thousands, but for lakhs of years, it is being seen that what they would be doing now, they are known to return to the exact places where they were born. Meaning that suppose from this egg, a turtle was hatched from this egg, let's suppose. Okay, now. So this turtle, when it will become mature, when this turtle will become mature, so this turtle will return back to the exact area to lay egg. This will again move on to some other places. Again, it will, when this new turtle will hatch, when this new turtle will come out of the egg, it will also be going back to the same place where from where it was born. Getting it, guys? What I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now. Particularly, you will see it there will be so many turtles. They would be laying their eggs in the coastal areas of India as well, right? Particularly leatherback species of turtles are seen to be doing so, right? And migration is seen in the case of whales also, particularly in humpback whale. Humpback whale. The most common example you would be seeing in the Arctic, in the Antarctic Circle, you have the example of penguins. So these are sufficient examples, I believe. Okay, now then you have bats also, they also do migration. Okay, so you guys tell me why animals do migration?
In the search of water
Hmm?
and
Or mating.
Breeding, basically mating or breeding, good, or
If their habitat was destroyed.
habitat is destroyed, correct. Or if the weather conditions become very extreme right now, so we can add one more. If habitat destruction, or we could say that extreme weather conditions will also be responsible for this. So I hope that is clear. Okay. Few important things were left to be discussed, like what are some of the examples of extinct and endangered species? Can you guys give some example of extinct species?
Dodo.
Dodo, very good. Yes.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, correct. And you have Caspian tiger. Okay, no?
Mammoths.
Mammoths, yeah. Mammoths are also extinct, very good. Woolly mammoths. So extinct species. So extinct species basically are those species of
I would
animals and
choose
plants.
tiger. Something.
Which ones on those?
Saber-tooth tiger. I don't.
Yeah, saber-tooth tiger, that is also extinct. Okay, no? So you have some common, but first of all, let's talk about what basically they are. The species which no longer exist anywhere on Earth, they are simply called as extinct species. So these are the species that have their population have died out completely. Not a single one of them is found. So if any member of that species dies, so thereby that species will be said to be extinct, right? For example, a type of any animal, like we had the example of dinosaur or dodo, or you have Caspian tiger or Irish deer. All these are the extinct species of animals, and the saber tooth and the woolly mammoth, all of them. In fact, recently there have been some research being done to revive the woolly mammoth. Do you guys have you guys read on that? Like woolly
Yes, sir.
mammoths are being researched upon. Yes,
Yes, sir, I read about it.
you don't, you know.
Yes, I know.
Good. So you see the last living woolly mammoth dates back to 5,000 years ago. It is said that it is dating back to the 5,000 years. How true is that figure? I don't know. So woolly mammoths, they were particularly first observed in the Ice Age, right now. Like you have different ages. Pleistocene is there. You have different ages. If you were to look at the geological time scale, like we have months, we have year, we have days and weeks right now. These are small scales to measure the time. Thereby you have large scales to measure the time period on Earth. Getting it? What I'm trying to say. Earth also has a geological scale. Getting it? What I'm trying to say. Geological history of the earth, where you get to see that earth went through different phases. Like once earth was very hot, then it entered the cold phase, that is the ice age. Then later on what happened, some of the gases started to come out from the inner core of the earth, from the inner layers of the earth, and thereby it started to increase the temperature of the earth. Getting it? So thereby ice ages started to change. So throughout the history, we have seen that in different, particularly in the Ice Age, we have seen that so many species of animals were found which are now extinct. So woolly mammoth was also there. So recently, scientists discovered a fossil of a 5,000-year-old woolly mammoth that was living around 5,000 years. So now they are researching upon the DNA of this woolly mammoth, and they are now trying to revive it back to life. How much, whether it is going to work or not, we can't really say, but it's an interesting thing. Getting it now? Then talking about the endangered species. How do we say that a living organism is an endangered species? Yes,
There are few of them left.
there are few of them left. Correct. So they exist in very small numbers on the earth, and if we do not take quick action to save them, they may be lost forever, or they might become extinct right now. Like the wild animals which whose numbers are diminishing to such a low level that they might face extinction very soon, they will be called as endangered species of not just animals but of plants also. So we have several examples, like the tiger, like snow leopard, Indian rhinoceros, or you have the flying squirrel, getting it, or the Indian giant squirrel. So all these are some of the examples of it. You have different kind of snakes also that are becoming extinct. Getting it now? Okay. Then there was a small topic, this reforestation and how paper is being recycled. What is the importance of that? Reforestation, it's simply the act of planting of trees in an area in which forests were destroyed. That simply is called as deforestation. An area which was once a forest, but all the trees of that area were cut down, so it became a barren land. So they were the act of again planting trees in that same area, that will be called as reforestation. Getting it now? So the planted trees should generally be of the same species. Like suppose 5 different species of plants were found in this forest, just for example, although there are hundreds and thousands of species of plants that can be found in a forest. Let's suppose 50. So our goal, our objective would be to try and plant the same species of plants in that forest. So thereby we would be able to conserve the biodiversity of that area. Getting it, guys? Okay, no? Also, like, even if people are cutting down the trees, they should at least try to plant the same number of trees that have been cut down. Okay, no? So forests are actually very important. We normally ignore this fact, but forests are called as green wealth of our country. We call them as green wealth of our country. Right now. So you see that also forests are called as green lungs of the earth right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you see, forest reforestation can have so many positive impacts on the nature earth, on the earth. Like, if you guys might have noticed, when there was lockdown in the pandemic, due to lockdown, you might have seen that so many rivers became clean. So many forests started to become very lush green. Did you guys notice that? Visibility increased, air visibility increased. So we have seen that reforestation, or like, nature can repair itself naturally also. Getting it now? So talking about reforestation can also take place naturally. If a place is left undisturbed for some time, it may reestablish itself by the natural growth of trees. So if reforestation takes place naturally, that will be called as natural reforestation, in which there is no role of human beings. That is called as natural reforestation. So that is the thing. Now in India, now we have set up, we have a act, we have a law called as the Forest Conservation Act. This was passed by the government of India, called as Forest Conservation Act, FCA. It is aimed at preservation and conservation of natural forests. At the it is basically aimed at the preservation and conservation of natural forest, and at the same time, it also aims at meeting the basic needs of the people which are living in or near the forest. Is it clear? Actually, it is FCAI. Let me write its full form: Forest Conservation Act of India. What is its aim? Its aim, first of all, it is to conserve plus protect the forest. Its second aim is also to keep in mind that the basic needs of the people that are living in that forest area, their needs are also met. So we are particularly talking about the tribal peoples, needs of the tribal people. So hope it is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Khadija and Sundus, you guys tell me, do you guys have any questions from this chapter so far?
No, sir.
Okay,
No.
Sundus, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so today I would try to send you guys the final PPT of the chapter, and you guys are required to prepare the PPT. Okay, no? I mean to say, prepare the notes. All right now. Okay. Now, Gauri, you tell me, currently in your school, which chapter is going on?
Sir, cell.
The chapter cell is going on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do tell me how many classes have been done in that chapter?
Sir, classes 8. 8 classes.
8 classes. So chapter, I think, is almost about to be finished.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Only this chapter have been done in your school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no other chapters. Okay, see what we are going to be doing in the bash now. In the bash, we would be doing the chapters in a sequential manner. Getting it? So see, currently we have done first chapter in the batch, that is crop production and management. Then we have done another chapter, conservation of plants and animals. Okay, now. So don't worry about these two chapters. You would be provided classes for these two chapters as well. Okay. So as of now, what we will be doing, we would be moving in a sequential manner. So I would be picking up the second chapter because you also haven't studied the second chapter yet. Neither Sundus and Khadija, they have studied this second chapter. Okay, now.
Okay.
And then what we would be doing, like in the batch, a chapter will be going on, which will be common for all of you. Try to understand this. Like normally we have 3 classes in a week,
Okay, sir.
right? So all you guys will be present in the batches and attending the chapter which will be going in the batch. You would be moving in a sequential manner. Now, say that, for example, Gauri, in your school, a particular chapter is going on, or Khadija, in your school, a particular chapter is going on. So if you have need in that particular chapter, what I would be doing in a week, one classes will be scheduled, which will be for that chapter particularly. Let's say chapter number 3 is going on in your school right now. So one day in a week, we would be taking that chapter. While for remaining days, we would be doing the chapter which is going in the batch. Have you guys understood what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Khadija, Sundus,
Yes, sir.
or do you guys have any query or any suggestion in this? Please do let me know. Is it okay if we go in this manner?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So let's begin the second chapter then. Microorganisms. Okay, now. So microorganisms, by the name itself, it means that these must be very tiny organisms. They must be so small that we cannot see them without the help of a microscope. We can't see them with our naked eyes. We have to take help of a special instrument called as microorganisms. Getting it? Like some of the microorganisms, we have some microorganisms that can be seen with the help of a magnifying glass, like fungus that grows on bread mold. You can see it with the help of a magnifying glass right now, while some are comparatively much smaller. And in order to see them, for in order to look at the bacteria, look at protozoa, look at virus, you need to take help of a microscope, right? Now, talking about microorganisms, who was the first person to have observed the microorganisms? So it is said that the first person to have observed the microorganism was a person called as Anton von Leeuwenhoek. We'll be discussing about him also. Who was this person? What was his contribution? So basically, just like you see the life forms on Earth, like just like you see the group of plants put in one kingdom called as plant kingdom, group of animals put under one group called as animal kingdom. So thereby you have several other kingdoms of living organisms. Like you have kingdom Monera, you have kingdom Protista, you have kingdom fungi, etc. So just for the sake of convenience in our study, we have categorized different life forms on Earth into different groups. So one of that group of living organisms that isn't visible to our naked eyes has been put in a group called as microorganisms. Getting it, guys? So that's what we would be studying about in today's class. So you know that we have different kind of plants and animals. However, microorganisms are one of the particular kind of organisms which can only be seen with the help of a instrument called as microscope, right? So you can see the virus, like this COVID virus. This virus can be seen by the help of this microscope only, or this bacteria can be studied under the microscope only, right now. What are the common characteristics of these microorganisms? What do all of them have in common? Yes,
They are microscopic in nature.
correct. And
Single cell unit.
not necessary. Some of them will be single cells, some of them will be multicellular. Like one of the common thing is that you can find them almost everywhere. Okay, now these microorganisms can be found almost everywhere, whether it be a bacteria, whether it be a fungi, a protozoa, or algae, or in fact a virus as well. Right now, some of them will be found more in moist places. Right now, so that's what we'll be studying: their habitat, what is their body structure, how they are helpful to us, how they are bad to us. That's why the chapter name is Microorganisms, Friend and Foe. They are a friend to us and they are foe to us. What does foe mean? FOE?
Enemy.
Enemy. Correct. Like just to name few of their characteristics, like just to see their friendly nature. We have some example of microorganisms. Like consider bacteria. Bacteria are known to cause disease, but using the we can take the weaker version or the dead or the dead viruses in order to make the vaccine. Like COVID vaccine, it is created from what? It is created from basically the weaker version of the COVID virus or dead virus. Getting it now? Then you have fungus. Like fungus is known to cause infections. It is known to spoil the food, thereby it leads to food poisoning. So it has got some bad aspects. But looking at how it acts as a friend to us, like some of the fungus, like yeast powder, right now, that helps in bread industry, that helps in making the bread. Some of the fungus are edible, like mushroom, which is a fungus, so that is edible. So there are two aspects of these microorganisms. Some aspects are positive, some of them are negative. So let's first of all do talk about the first group of microorganism which we have, called as the bacteria. We would be doing these questions later on. Before we talk about bacteria now, we need to discuss about some of the scientists who had major contribution in this field. Like you have one scientist whose name is Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So he was one of the scientists. He was one of
Can
the
you
early.
write this spelling?
Yeah, I'm going to write the spelling. Just 1 minute. So he was one of the earliest scientists who had so many contributions in the field of biology, particularly in the field of microbiology. Like in biology, you have got different fields right now. Yeah, like you have zoology, you have botany, you have odontology, you have cardiology, etc. So one of the field of biology is called as microbiology, in which we study about microorganisms. So there was this scientist called as Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So he discovered the protista and the bacteria, and he had done so many works. His name was Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So he has been called as the father of microbiology. Why we call, like, why it's a subject and why we are calling some person as the father of this subject? The obvious reason is that he must have done so much of research and so much of must have gave so much of contribution in the subject. So thereby he is called as the father of microbiology. So do remember that. Then you guys tell me, like, who is the father of biology? He was Aristotle. Okay, no? Aristotle was called as father of biology. But the thing is that he was an ancient scientist, no? So you might be asked this question, like, who is called as the father of modern biology? Yes, this question can also be asked. So thereby you would say that it was Charles Darwin, right? Now Charles Darwin sometimes has been referred to as the father of modern biology. Father of modern biology. Okay, another thing, one important thing you guys would be doing, you guys would be giving you know that you have to prepare notes also. Okay, now so give this topic in your copy, microorganisms, friend and foe. Okay, now, and after having done that, basically write the name of these four groups in your copy. We'll be continuing from here in the next class. Okay, Gauri, Khadija, and Sundus.
Okay, sir.
And Sandus and Khadija, you guys will be preparing the notes once the PPT is provided to you. Okay.
Okay.
That's it for today. You guys have noted it down. Just
Yes.
write these four names: bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. All right.
I'm done. I'm done. Can I leave?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.